Okay guys, so I needed to do a video on my hair, and I normally have my makeup done when I do that, so I was like, well, maybe I should just go ahead and film a video on my makeup. Mainly I want to talk about the way I do my brows and also just my kind of like everyday foundation routine. Very simple. I really don't like to wear a lot of makeup. I love the way it looks, but on an everyday, all day basis, I don't really like to. So I'm gonna start, I always start with my eyebrows. Eyebrows have not been done. They're not too bad because they don't get too out of control. My eyebrows, they don't get too bushy. They just get, like, I get them cleaned up. I don't really get them shaped up too much because they're not super thick. And normally what I do is a brow tint. I'll do the brow henna. So I normally don't have to fill my eyebrows down, you know, like on a daily basis. But what I always do is start by brushing them up. And what I've been doing is, I'm pretty simple with the brows too, but even if your brows are super thick, you can pretty much do this to make them look more neat. And we're gonna use the traditional concealer, but the thing is, you have to make sure that you don't put really light concealer on top of the brows. What you use on top should more so match your skin complexion or your foundation. It should not be the same concealer you're using underneath. Otherwise, you get that halo effect, and that's wrong. So we're gonna do soap brows. This soap I got from the Dollar Tree, and it's just a transparent soap. You don't want to use a white soap or a colored soap because you want it to blend in. And then I'm going to use a spoolie, and I'm going to spray it with this hydrating mist a little bit. And then I'm going to run it along the soap. So it's all over. And you can either spray the soap or whatever. You don't want it soaking wet. You don't want suds. Okay. So then you're gonna want to just brush your eyebrows going up all the way across, and we're just gonna shape them. And then it makes them look more full. All right, see how they are just going straight up. Then you're just gonna go right along the top and lay those hairs down just a little bit. So see how those are going straight up? That's how you want that. Brush going up. Now this is a way to do it without cutting or waxing or anything like that. The soap is gonna hold the brows up in place a whole lot better than any of your brow gels. The MAC one does pretty well, but this is also a lot cheaper than you going out and buying a brow gel. If it seems like it's not holding up enough and they're falling back down, just spray it again and get a little more soap on the brush. So next up, I'm not gonna fill them in yet. I want you to see what they do without filling them in. And I'm just gonna take this brush here, which is a tapered, it's like a concealer brush. And I'm gonna take a lighter concealer. So this is the Tarte Shape Tape, and this is in Tan Sand. So we're gonna take a little bit, not too much. You should not be painting in your entire brow. So just a little bit on the brush so that you can outline underneath your brows. Go up all those unwanted hairs. And I'm going slightly up into my hairs to give it a shape and a lift. And I actually used too much. Could have used less. One, I wanted to make sure that you could see it, but you can always use a lot less and then pull it down. So I've done both of those sides. Then is the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer, and it's in Butterscotch, but it's a little bit more my complexion. It's not so light. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this on here, and we're just gonna go right across the top and line the top. And you always wanna buff out away from the line. But see how that blends in more with my forehead, because you do not want that bright light line up top. That is a pet peeve. To make sure the line is straight, you can make a straight, so go straight across the top and out, all the way across, and then make an X. Then come down like that. So that'll make, like, it'll give you a point at the top, so you know that it's gonna be even. Okay, so they look much, much neater. I didn't fill them in or anything. Typically, I don't fill them in, and this is all I do. If I want to add a little color, I can use the brow gel, the brown, to make them a little bit darker. But this is like an everyday kind of brown. Like, I'm not gonna wear a full face of makeup kind of eyebrow. I don't do, like I said, a full face of makeup for every day. My main concern is under my eyes, just brightening them up so they don't look dark. So I'm gonna combine these two. So what I'm gonna do is take the darker of the two, the Born This Way, and put it underneath my eye. Just like that. And then I'm gonna take 2 dots of the Shape Tape on each side, and they will balance each other out. What I will do is go in on a different video and show you how I highlight, contour, all that kind of stuff, and take it and actually use a foundation and take it to the next level. But this is just every day I want to look decent. And I have like a little spot right there that's trying to heal, so we're gonna put a dot here too. So anything that you want to cover, any hyperpigmentation, you would do all of that then. Sometimes I'll do right in the sides of my mouth, and that was with the darker one. And then you're gonna wait a second for it to dry a little bit. You never want to go in and immediately blend in your concealer because it's too liquidy, and all it's going to do is wash away. It's not going to actually conceal anything because you did it too soon. You need to wait until it just dries up a little bit, and then you go in. I'm going in with a damp beauty blender, and it is clean, I promise. And I always start at the parts with less product first. I don't want to start under the eyes where I'm going to have more concealer and then put it somewhere else because it's just going to overdo it elsewhere. I don't want a lot of product here, so I'm going to start here. Sometimes my nose has like a little redness, so I'll just whatever's left on the product on the sponge, go over. Just so everything is blended and even. What I'm using is my RCMA powder, but I hate the little shaker thing, so I put it in another container. I'm gonna use this brush. What I'm gonna do is, let's see, dip it in here so I get some on the product and then pat it in here. Because I don't want a ton, you don't want to bake. You just want to set so that you don't have any creasing underneath. And you're gonna pat. And anywhere that you have concealer, because you don't want it to get too oily throughout the day. And then just so that the color, because I feel like my complexion is it doesn't have a lot of warmth to it. So I'm gonna take my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in dark. And I'm just gonna put a little bit. I'm gonna use this brush and then just press it into the rest of my skin. So all this is giving me is just a very clean, fresh look. Not a lot of color or anything like that. And I always do my mascara. And today I'm using the CoverGirl Lash Blast. That has been my favorite drugstore mascara forever. All I do for a daily face. If you feel like your eyebrows, like I said, are not defined enough, add a little bit of your brow gel just to give a little more color to the face. Or you could always go in with a like a brown eyeshadow or brow powder. Fill them in a little bit, but you don't want them to be like you fill them in on purpose. So this is about all that I do for just everyday kind of, I want to look decent kind of look. The only other thing that I'll add in is sometimes if I'm leaving the house, I'll add in a blush. And I've been using the Juvia's palette. This is the Zulu palette. And so we're gonna go in with the orange and the yellow. That's at the top. I'm gonna take the yellow and go right under here like a highlight. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of the orange and go up underneath it. And this just kind of brightens you up, gives you a little warmth and glow to the face. All right, so that is it. I'm gonna go ahead and do my next video, which is gonna be on a wash and go. So today, this is just the leftover conditioner that's in, and that's just my natural curl pattern. But what we're gonna do is go in and actually do a wash and go look in my next video, and we're gonna use the Influence products as I promised. And I will see you guys in a few with another video. Thanks for watching. Bye.